John 6:63. It is the Spirit who gives life. The flesh profits nothing. Think about that. Anything you just do out of human effort, throw it in the trash can. It's worthless. According to my Bible, it's the Spirit, the presence of God, that gives life. And so we need to pursue that presence in everything we do to bring forth the life of God. Now, in the Old Testament, going back to a type and a shadow, Israel, a type of the church, they camped around the tabernacle which housed the presence of God. So there's a tabernacle there, and you can see all the tents. Everyone camped around the center of the nation, which was the presence of God. As long as they camped around the presence, they had victory, success, healing, breakthrough, miracles. Israel camped around the presence of God. Israel's the type of the church. So the church is to camp around the presence of God. Not camp around a sermon, not camp around a music, not camp around some event, not camp around even fellowship together, but camp around the presence of God. Because everything comes with the presence of God. And as long as they kept the Ark of the Covenant and camped around the presence of God, Israel had success and blessing. Of course, the problem with Israel is they kept departing from the presence of God. They kept departing from the Ark of the Covenant. And the other thing with this was that, it's an amazing story. If you read through the Old Testament there, above the tabernacle was this cloud by day and this pillar of fire by night. So they'd be camping, but as soon as the cloud and the fire, that represented the presence of God. As soon as the cloud moved, they had to move with it. If they didn't move with it, they'd be in trouble. They'd lose the presence of God. And friends, can I just say to you today that when the cloud moves in your life, you better move with it. If God is taking you in a certain direction and guiding you there, you better go with Him. Because if you don't go with Him, and it may be going in a direction you may not necessarily want, you're going to lose the presence of God. You're no longer under the presence. Now, the reason it's important to be under the presence, because with it came 4 P's. First, you had the presence of God. And then secondly, you had, I think it was power, came with it. So whenever they needed a miracle, water from the rock, no problem. Dealing with plagues or anything else, no problem. But also protection came with it. Because under the cloud, there was protection from the heat during the day. And the fire gave them warmth at night from the cold. So when you're under the cloud, friends, there's protection. But also there's provision. When they needed food, there was manna from heaven. Whatever they needed, it all came by being under the cloud and the presence of God. So ask yourself a question. How well are you positioned under the cloud, doing exactly what God has called you to do? Living the life He has called you to live. Following the leading of the Holy Spirit, which is not always the direction. Remember, I didn't want to go to India. 1993, 94, 95. I resisted it with everything I had within me. But I prayed, and then I thought, God indicated I needed to go. I moved with the cloud. And that's when I experienced those visitations of God. I could have missed the whole thing, friends, because I didn't want to move with the cloud. Didn't want to move with the leading of God's Spirit in my life. And God's speaking to some people right now. I can feel it in my spirit. Amen. That you need to move with the cloud. You need to move with the directions that God has for your life. You need to do the things that He's been talking to you about doing for some time. Get under the cloud. You'll have presence, power, protection, and provision. It's a good deal. It's a good deal.